July 28th. Early this morning, me and Rondell were back at the San Ysidro border. But this time we weren't looking into Mexico. We were looking at each other to say goodbye. Mexico, Rondell said, holding out his hand for me. Rondell, I said, slapping it. He pulled me in for a little dude hug, and then we both pulled away. He looked down at his shoes, all shy, and then peeked up at me. His eyes were glassy. I nodded at him, thinking how for a guy I first met in juvie, he turned out to be a pretty solid dude. But it's not like I was gonna get all choked up or whatever. He wasn't the first person I had to say bye to. You got the map, right? I said. He held it up. And you got the money? He slipped the wad of bills halfway out of his pocket for me to see. All right, then, I said. I guess you go stand with those people. I nodded my head toward the small line of people waiting to get into Mexico. He looked at the line and then looked back at me. I punched his big ass in the arm and then walked away, telling him over my shoulder, Good luck, Big Rondo. Don't get nobody pregnant. Good luck, Mexico, he called after me. I'm gonna miss you. I didn't even turn around once as I walked away. I learned the best system for saying goodbye to people is to just keep walking and not think about it that much. You can't stress about every single person you say bye to, right? That'd be like half your life spent worrying about people you're no longer gonna see. Nah, man, you gotta look forwards, not backwards. Rondell would figure his shit out over there, or he wouldn't, same as me, but there was no use stressing about it. I couldn't sit there and wonder if he'd be okay on his own or not, if people might take advantage of him. It's not like I could do anything when we were in two different countries. That's just how life is, man. I walked back to the main road and headed north this time, back to San Ysidro, into America. I didn't even know where I was going yet, or how I was going to get there, or how I could make back all the $750 to send to the lighthouse. If you think about it, I didn't know nothing about nothing anymore. All I knew is I had to stay in America until I got my shit straight. About a mile down the busy road, I cut into a mini mall and hit the first payphone I found, this one right at the edge of the huge parking lot. I set down my bag on the thin bed of grass and tossed some change in the coin thing and dialed my mom's. It rang 5 times, and then the answering machine picked up. I wasn't surprised she still had the same message as when I called from the lighthouse. Diego's voice saying, Peoples, we're not home right now. Leave a message at the my mom's laughing in the background, and then the beep sounding. I remember because I was sitting next to him on the couch when he said it. I remember looking over at my mom's, watching her crack up a little. That's the thing you should know about Diego, by the way. He can pretty much make moms laugh anytime, any place, no matter what mood she's in. I hung up. I sat down and looked at the parking lot for a while, watched some people pulling in and others pulling out. I tried hard to think what I should do next, but honestly, I had no idea. My mind was completely blank. I looked up at the clouds and tried to make out shapes. For a sec, I thought I saw Diego's face laughing at me, but when I looked closer, I knew I was full of shit. There wasn't no face there, more like a big ass white bowling ball, one with the finger holes and everything. I pulled out this journal and read through a bunch of my entries. It was crazy to look back over my last couple months. So much shit had happened. It almost seemed like I had to be making half the shit up, or at least exaggerating. But I wasn't, man. Every single thing in here is completely true. I still had a bunch of pages left, too, and I wonder if by the time I ran out of pages, I'd be done with my story. And how would it end? It's weird when you're writing a book about your own life and you got no clue what's going to happen next or if it'll be good or bad. One thing I can say for sure, though, I was happy as hell my journal didn't have a bunch of that emotional crap most people's journals have. I know that's probably what the judge wanted me to put or whatever, but I like it so much better that I can just tell what happens. It seems more of a real book that way, like the ones you see in bookstores or in school libraries. I stood and picked up the phone again, dialed the number on the leather petty cash envelope. Jaden answered right off and said hello. It's me again, I said. Miguel, bro, great to hear from you, man. I was actually just thinking about you. I rolled my eyes. Thought, right, money. I'm paying the petty cash back. It might take me a while to raise it up, but I'll mail it as soon as I do. Yeah, he said. Bro, I think that's solid. It makes me really happy to hear that. I should just send it to the address on the envelope thing. That's the right one. Read it to me. I read it to him. That's it, bro. That's where I am right this second in my office. The guys here are cleaning up after breakfast. We had frozen waffles. You remember our frozen waffle mornings? I switched the phone from one ear to the other. You like the blueberry ones, right, bro? Kind of burned on the sides. See, Miguel, I was paying attention. Yeah, they're all right. For some reason, just thinking about the lighthouse made butterflies go into my stomach. Anyway, Jaden said, I'm watching the guys right now and thinking how much this place has changed. We got 3 new residents. Nice kid. One of them is an amazing dancer, bro. Last night we put on some hip hop and cleared the living room floor, and all the guys broke it down. It was unreal. They took turns in the middle and even made a couple routines. By the end, though, we were all watching Maya. He can do things you've never seen before, like he's double jointed in every part of his body. Yeah, I said, trying to think why he'd be telling me all this. It was good for the guys, bro. As he kept talking, I looked over my shoulder to watch this young mom wheel a cart from the grocery store to her car, singing to her kid, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had a cow. I watched her pop the trunk and start loading the plastic bags. Her little kid stood up in the cart, clapping. And we got a batch of new books, too, Jaden was saying. I ordered them myself with you in mind. Never know when you're going to get a resident who reads, right? It's hella rare, bro, but you've proved to me it can happen. I remember going up to the lighthouse bookshelf, feeling all the spines, and then picking the one I wanted to take to my room. I said, I almost finished The Catcher in the Rye. Miguel, my man, that's in my all-time top 5. Holden's a trip, right? He says some pretty funny stuff about people in his life. Haha, but at the same time, he's really just a vulnerable lost kid. I switched to the phone again. I liked Of Mice and Men better, and The Color Purple. Mostly The Color Purple. Yeah, those books are great too, but you gotta understand, Miguel. Catcher was way ahead of its time. Nobody had ever written a character like Holden. He was a true original. No, I like it a lot, I said, reaching into my bag and pulling my copy out. I'm just saying. Jaden said some more about the book, and I stared at the cover, thinking how far away I was from my life back at the lighthouse, and even farther from my life in Stockton, from my mom's in Diego and our apartment and the levee. I shook my head, thinking where I was now, on a payphone in San Diego with some surfer group home counselor telling me about his favorite books and how his parents once invited this old English teacher to dinner who had supposedly met the guy who wrote Of Mice and Men. Bro, listen, he said after a short pause. From now on, I want you to call here collect. You know how to make a collect call, right? You just dial. I know how, I said. Good. From now on, bro. I love hearing from you. I mean it. Does Lester know I call? He does. I'm not going to pull any punches with you, Miguel. I told him first thing. He's confused, just like I am. We think we've created a pretty chilled out environment where you guys can get better and move on with their lives. So it was a surprise. Did he call my mom? He did, yeah. She's worried. I called her too, right after you last called. I told her you were okay and that you were a good kid. We had a nice long talk, bro. Anyways, I said, interrupting him, I didn't want to hear anything else about my mom's for some reason, just in case it was bad. I'm paying the money back, I said. That's all I called for. I just don't know how long it'll take. As I was hanging up the phone, I heard him saying something about me coming back and how he and Lester would work things out with the judge, but I didn't really hear the details. I knew I should start walking again, go find a train or bus station and buy a ticket somewhere. Or I should at least figure out some sort of plan, even if it was just for the rest of today. But I didn't do anything, man. I just sat my ass down on the little strip of grass next to my bag and watched that young mother finally pull her cart out of the parking space. Watched her loop around to the exit and cautiously merge back into traffic. Then she was gone. And there was this one memory that kept coming into my head. I don't even know why. It was the time when me and Diego and Moms all went to some ice cream place about 2 months after we found out my pop wasn't coming home from the war. Moms, who'd been so depressed she barely got out of bed, came marching into me and Diego's room and said, You guys be ready in 10 minutes, okay? Why? Diego said. Yeah, what's going on? I said. I'm taking you guys out for ice cream sundaes. Diego looked at her like she was crazy. Ice cream, Ma? I don't know if you checked the calendar lately, but it's the damn middle of winter. Mom put her hands on her hips and said, And your point is? It's raining outside, Ma. That's what umbrellas are for, she said. Now come on, I feel like a chocolate sundae. I automatically started pulling my umbrella from under the bed. When I looked up and saw Diego watching me, I paused. Mom's turned to me and said, See, Miguel agrees with his mom. A Sunday sounds good, doesn't it? I looked back at her and said, I guess so. Diego shook his head. Come on, Ma. You know Gully's just going to go along with any single thing you say. That's because he likes being around his mom, she said. Diego held his hands out, said, And I don't? Hurry up and get ready then. We're going out for Sundays together. Okay, 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 Diego said, a smile slowly coming over his face. He pulled his umbrella from under the bed, too. You know I'm just busting your balls anyway, Ma. We all piled into the car and went to Baskin Robbins and ordered huge ice cream sundaes and sat together in a booth way in the back. And after Mom's had a couple bites, she flicked a spoonful of ice cream onto Diego's black sweatshirt. Diego looked down at the ice cream and then looked up at Mom's with this shocked ass look on his face. I remember I couldn't believe she did that. I maybe even thought she was going crazy. What? She said, shrugging and going back to her sundae. You just flicked ice cream on me, Diego said. Mom's acted all confused, though. Said, I most certainly did not, Diego. You ever think maybe it was your little brother over there? Diego looked at me, and I shook my head. Then he scooped up some ice cream and flicked it onto my mom's jacket. She casually picked up a couple napkins, wiped the ice cream off, and told Diego, That was extremely rude, honey. Flicking ice cream on your own mom? What kind of son would do such a thing? Diego was about to say something back, but right then, Mom scooped up some chocolate sauce in her right hand and wiped it all over Diego's face. Then she pulled out a long chunk of banana from her sundae and threw it in my lap. Before you knew it, we were all three of us flinging ice cream and bananas and chocolate sauce all over each other and laughing our asses off. The manager stormed over to us and told us to leave immediately. Moms picked up her spoon and flicked ice cream right into his damn cheek and forehead. Me and Diego laughed so hard we could barely breathe. The manager guy wiped off his face with a rag and got this crazy look in his face. He spun his head to the girl working the register, shouted, Jenny, call the goddamn cops. Hurry up. I want these people arrested. But me, Moms, and Diego were already racing out of the store together, laughing and telling each other to hurry and get in the car. We cracked up the whole way home, sticky ass melted ice cream all over our clothes and faces and hands. And then, as we pulled into our apartment complex parking lot, Mom's laughing died out and she got this different look on her face as she stared straight ahead. And then she started sobbing. She gripped the wheel and cried harder than anybody had ever seen before. Me and Diego put a hand each on her shoulders and told her, It's okay, Ma, it's okay, don't cry. Ma, it's okay. But secretly, I think we both knew it was a good thing. It was the first time she'd cried since the army guy came to our house that day and said our pop was involved in a freak training accident and wasn't able to make it through. I was laying in the grass by the payphone, picturing all of us in the ice cream place, the look on the manager's face, us coming home in the car, when I heard this deep voice behind me saying, It's the cops. We're arresting all guys named Mexico. I spun my ass around to look, and I couldn't believe it. There was Rondell's big, dumb ass, bag slung over his right shoulder, and a huge grin on his face. The return of Rondell with two L's law. Yo, man, I said, and then I shook my head, cracking up at him. I had to admit, I was kind of happy as hell to see the guy again, even though I played it like I didn't care that much. Yo, I said, standing up, you're supposed to be in damn TJ right now. I know, he said. He put a fist up to his mouth and giggled his ass off for a few seconds. Then he wiped a laughter tear off his cheek and said, You know what I thought about, though? I shook my head. Go ahead, this ought to be interesting. I thought about maybe I don't gotta go all the way to Mexico to be a fisherman. Not just yet, at least. I could probably be one right here in this country first, and then go to Mexico later on. I see. And while I'm here, I could help you raise up the money to pay back them lighthouse people, because I don't think we should have took it neither. He held his wad of cash out to me, and I grabbed it. He slipped his hands in his pockets. Is it okay if I didn't go to Mexico? It's a free damn country, Rondo. You can do whatever you want. But is it okay if I go with you instead? I made a big show like I was thinking about it for a few seconds, and then I looked up at him, reaching into my bag. Long as you hold these books for me, I said, holding out the ones I took back last night. He took them and stashed them in his bag. Thanks, Mexico. He sat all the way down in the grass, and I did too. We were both so quiet for a sec, and then he looked at me and said, So what are we going to do now? A big smile went on my face. That's the $1 million question, isn't it, Rondo? I was just sitting here trying to figure that one out. You'll come up with something. You think so? He nodded. 'Cause you smart too, Mexico. I patted him on his big ass back and said, Well, I'm glad you feel that way. He smiled big and said, Ain't as smart as me, but you all right. We both cracked up a little, and then I looked out onto the road. We watched the cars drive by. I tried to think about what we were going to do. There were two people to consider about now. I snuck another little look at the side of Rondell's head. Big Rondo. Dude was back. I laughed a little inside because I knew if I had a damn chocolate sundae, I'd flick some ice cream right into his baby afro. When he turned his head back to me, though, I went right back to watching cars on the road like I was in a deep brainstorm mode.